Hey guys, Drifter here. All of the gameplay you're seeing in today's video is from the final version of Black Ops Cold War. This is the full release build that Activision was kind enough to let me download and play early along with some other creators, so thank you to them for that early access. And if you want to support me, you can use creator code Drifter in the Warzone, Black Ops Cold War, or Modern Warfare store. I got to play the full version of the game, and I'm going to talk about everything that changed from alpha to beta to the final release, except for zombies. Now, I did play zombies and Dead Ops, but that's a little bit outside of my area of expertise, so I don't want to say dumb things, and all of my impressions about zombies are in a different video. So today, we're primarily going to focus on multiplayer. I have a lot to talk about multiplayer, but I do, at the beginning, want to have a brief talk about the campaign. This year's campaign was mostly done by Raven Studios, which to the best of my knowledge is their first campaign, and simply put, the campaign is awesome. It's just a solid 10 out of 10 for me. A top 3, if not number 1 best COD campaign, and I'm deadly serious. I usually don't even play COD campaigns. I usually get bored and put them away, but it's seriously very good. In the very beginning, when you create your own character, it gives you perks and abilities based on what background you choose and what skills or your psychological profile or skills you want to pick up, like faster ADS or more health and stuff that you can enjoy throughout the campaign. And the campaign story plays out in a non-linear fashion, jumping around between time a little bit, but also letting you choose your own mission, choosing what order to do missions in, and choose your own path. Each mission has a set of side objectives that reveal new stuff, and you don't even get to the side objectives unless you find secrets or clues that are hidden in the map or talk to certain people, which will also lead you down other paths. And then there are bonus missions that are pretty similar to Black Ops 2's bonus missions. I think they called them strike missions, and completing these makes your final battle easier, and it gives you more story information, so you get like the true ending or whatever, because there are lots of choices to make in each mission. Each mission has quite a few ways to finish it, and sometimes nothing at all is also a choice. For example, in one mission, I decided to kill myself, and somehow that unlocked a secret achievement that I didn't know existed. If you want to, you can blow through the campaign super fast. If you wanted to just get the base story and get to the ending and find out who Perseus is, you could probably do that in about 4 hours. If you want to get the full story and understand everything and unravel the mystery, do the side objectives, and get the true ending or maybe the good ending or whatever, that's probably about 8 to 10 hours. When I played through the campaign, I decided to take the road less traveled by. I decided to take a darker path, to kind of be a little bit evil, to be a little bit more chaotic and do some goofy things, and I got the most horrific, screwed up, depressing ending to a video game I have ever seen. I don't want to spoil it for you, but if you're watching my campaign Let's Play, it's going to a dark place, ladies and gentlemen. We're going straight to Nightmare Town, and it's still kind of stuck in my head. And that kind of experience, even though I got the bad ending, is still really impactful because I'm still thinking about it, and I think that makes it a good campaign. I will say the campaign graphics looked very good on PC. Frame rate was very stable, ran very well, RTX functioned properly. The sound design was very good, music choices very much so on point, excellent music choices, but be careful about streaming them or posting said videos on YouTube. Overall, I was super happy with the campaign, but multiplayer unfortunately has some problems. We're going to be talking about the good, bad, and ugly of that right now. And of course, let's start off with the good. Let's start off with a little bit more positive stuff before we start getting very, very negative on the multiplayer. The first good thing is that Treyarch brought a hedge trimmer out for the bushes on Cartel. They didn't completely remove the bushes, they're still there, but they cleaned them up a lot. I would say every other row got half of their bushes removed in sort of a checkerboard pattern, so about 25, maybe 30% of the bushes are gone, and it's a lot harder to hide in them. You can't just like crawl through quite as easily, so that's a bonus right off the rip. The weapon and character animations got a lot of work. That was one of the biggest criticisms from the alpha and beta. I was on board that train. Reddit was pointing out how bad they are. They're significantly better in this, especially the weapon animations. You're going to notice it pretty much immediately. I think that they took that criticism very personally. Also, every weapon now has a unique inspect, which is very nice for making thumbnails and just nice for checking out whatever variants or camouflages you have. The operators are split by factions, as myself and the community requested. Having the operators be split by factions between CIA and Spetsnaz makes it way easier to identify enemies, and they've added a couple of new weapons that weren't in the beta, of course, and all of these are COD classic weapons. There's a FAMAS, an AUG, a Bison, a Barrett 50 caliber, caliber sniper rifle. They all seem to be pretty good weapons too. I didn't get the opportunity to play with them very much in the final build of the game because, well, we kind of have to unlock them and they're very high level, but they're there and they're nice COD classics. The full attachment list for Black Ops Cold War is pretty nutty as well. There's some that actually weren't present in the beta, some that have been reworked from the beta. Each weapon probably has about 80 different attachments, and I think that's going to make in-depth very hard this year, but it's going to add a lot of variety to gameplay, which I'm happy with. On the topic of in-depth and weapons, the initial weapon balance seems better than alpha or beta. Just from my initial playtime with YouTubers, the weapon balance felt good. It felt reasonable, it felt rational. I didn't have any initial problems with it. However, we have no idea what little Timmy No Thumbs is going to do when he gets his hand on this arsenal. Like, you can build something that works great in esports, and little Timmy No Thumbs will just find a way to completely break it at home. There were improvements made to the game audio, which is just an actual godsend to me. There's far less wub 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 bass that just reverbs in my ears. The weapon sounds were a little bit better. They're still, Treyarchy. They're less realistic like Modern Warfare, but I would say they improved, and I feel that the overall audio balance has slightly improved since beta. I felt very comfortable with this, and the footsteps are still fairly loud. I know that was a controversial thing. Some people love that, some people hate it. I really didn't have a problem hearing footsteps. I didn't have a problem telling their direction or where they're coming from or what they're doing, and I think that that's a good thing. Sometimes they can be too loud. That makes search and destroy and some other modes very hard. It can do weird things in Warzone if you're playing that, but from an initial standpoint, at least the directional audio is working, which makes me happy. The auto-mantling system is a bit more chill now. There's no more backwards climbing for me. I didn't have that problem, and it felt pretty normal without having to overthink it. I didn't have to toggle this one off and make it manual only. There were some improvements to lighting and player visibility. I noticed right off the rip that it was easier to spot players than it was in the alpha or beta, but I want to be really clear with you all that these are not super big changes. Like maybe 10%, maybe 20% more visible tops. We got a little bit more visible. We got some improvement, but it's not a massive one. Some of you with good eyes are probably going to notice this one. And finally, the pinging system is now a lot more robust, at least on PC. You can ping an interesting objective, you can ping an item, you can ping enemies. You can also ping objectives on the map. You can just kind of look at them and like ping A or B flag and give your team commands to go there, which is very helpful if you're playing something like, say, Escort or VIP Escort, and you don't have a microphone and you're the VIP and you need to tell people where to go. Well, I just pinged B flag and I told them to go there, and the whole team saw, hey, Drifter the VIP pinged B flag, and they knew to protect that, which is very good if you don't want to have to use a microphone. There are some new things that we did not see in beta or alpha at all. Number one is the theater mode. The theater mode is back. I got to take a look at it only a little bit because unfortunately in the build that I'm in, it was bugged on PC. Some of the controls were only enabled for a controller, which I didn't have and couldn't plug in, but I did get to go into theater mode and play around with it a little bit. It seems a lot like the Black Ops 1 and 2 theater mode, which is very good. It'll be very great for montages, great for thumbnails, great for just like showing your friends your kills and stuff like that. I'm glad that we have it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to really dig into it because mine was bugged. I talked to the devs, and apparently in the next title update, which is supposed to come out before launch, that's going to be fixed, and I believe them on that. Finishers are back, so you can execute somebody from behind with some sort of dramatic neck break or stab in the chest or something like really cool like we've had in Warzone for a long time. They're very fun, but just like Warzone, they're risky. People can shoot you while you're doing them. It's nice to have them back. And finally, I got to play regular S&D. Now, I did not play the last day or two of beta, so I don't know if S&D was in the beta or not, but it's new to me. And I will say that regular Search and Destroy is playing quite well. I'm sure that Search and Destroy experts like Wildcat and Marksman just heard me with their government drones, and they're coming to my house with AC-130s right now to tell me why I'm wrong and it's awful, but my peasant experience on Search and Destroy is that it was fun. There are a lot of new kill streaks added to the game. Unfortunately, I didn't get to try very many of them because we had to pull them out of care packages. We were very low level. We started off at level 1, which was rough. Of the ones I did get to use, I'll talk about. I got to use the Flaming Crossbow, which is the lowest tier kill streak you can get, which I think is hilarious. It's awesome, and it's powerful if you know how to use it. It's not particularly easy to use. You have to charge it up. Even when charged, you still have to arc your shots. It can one-hit people with a direct hit. It can also also splash fire and kind of act as a Molotov launcher. I talked to the score streak designer many years ago about why they put things in the game like the RCXD and the little drone that you would throw in Black Ops 2, and they said the design goal was to have a relatively low-cost score streak that was fun for people to play with, that wasn't too hard to use but also wasn't broken, and I think they really nailed it this time with the flaming crossbow. That one actually pretty much delivered that design goal. I did get to use the hand cannon, which is a Desert Eagle with a sight on it. It's basically the Annihilator, and it's actually hilarious, and I love it, so that's good. I probably won't love it after launch when somebody nails me with it, but that's how these streaks go. The cruise missile is not quite the Predator missile from Modern Warfare. It's rather more the cluster missile from Black Ops 2, and you can shoot a couple of extras out of it before slamming into the ground with the big one. And then finally, the AC-130 I got to use in campaign. I did not get to use the AC-130 in multiplayer, but a lot of the actual campaign and multiplayer streaks cross over. You can use various streaks in each. They're pretty analogous to each other, and if that trend continues, then I'm going to say the AC-130 is going to be ridiculously powerful, probably stronger than the MW2 AC-130. There's a couple of things about multiplayer that stayed the same. The overall connection quality did not change very much. When I was initially playing only with people in North America, and I matched up actually with quite a few people in my region, it was very good. When we started pulling in people from more distant parts of the US or North America, the connection quality dipped. I did definitely get killed around corners. I definitely had some weird drop packets mid gunfight. However, it was at a 5 out of 10. It was at an acceptable level. It was basically about where the Black Ops beta left off, and it's Call of Duty. It's a Treyarch Call of Duty. I'm used to that kind of connection quality, and it's okay by me, but it's not great. Spawns don't seem any different. I was playing with YouTubers, so they don't really abuse the spawns, or you can't really abuse the spawns that easily when you're playing with a whole bunch of smart people. So if you like the spawns in the beta, great. If you didn't like them, well, good luck. Jump shotting, drop shotting, COD movement are all pretty standard here. None of those got significantly nerfed or buffed from the beta, except you can't slide quite as far, but that was done at the end of beta. So really nothing new in terms of movement. The sniper rifles are still very strong in the right hands. I don't know if they're broken or busted yet because we didn't have too many pro snipers to go against, but they're definitely not weak guns. They did not get a super hard nerf hammer. They're not significantly different in my opinion. The sleeper weapon that nobody talks about that is also not very different is the M1911. I'm telling you guys, that M1911 is a super strong backup weapon, and you're going to see a lot of 1911 gang guys out there. Skill-based matchmaking, I can't tell you about, not because I signed a super secret soul contract with Activision, but rather because we had a player pool of about 40 total people, and their skill levels were all over the place, from press to streamers to pro gamers, and there's pretty much no skill matchmaking happening now because we're just trying to get people in lobbies. If I had to guess, I would guess not too much has changed in that regard, but we'll find out when the full game comes out. And then finally, one thing that's pretty much the same from the beta is the maps. This leads me into the final section of today's video of things that got worse from the beta, and it's a big problem that we ran into right off the rip, in that there are a total of 8 multiplayer maps, the 6 maps that you already played in the beta, and 2 new ones. This includes combined arms as well, and the combined arms maps have 12v12 and 6v6 options with smaller fenced-in areas. I guess if you want to count the 2 Fireteam Dirty Bomb maps, that makes 10 in total, but that's almost an entirely different mode. That's really more of a Warzone mode. There are a total of 8 unique maps that can be played in 6v6, and there are 6 maps that are exclusively for 6v6. This is a really low map count. That's rough. There's no way about it. Without Warzone or anything else going on, that's going to be rough for quite some time. If you didn't like Fireteam Dirty Bomb, your options are pretty limited here. I can already see that how the community will react to this. They'll hate it. They'll be super mad, delivering less content for more money. I can literally already see the clickbait videos coming in about Activision and Satanism and weird things like that. And there's really no way around this one. Treyarch and Activision are going to take an L and just have to own up to the fact that there are 6 unique 6v6 maps at launch, 8 total, or 10 total if you count Fireteam Dirty Bomb. That's kind of rough. So if you played the beta and you played all of the maps in the beta, including Fireteam Dirty Bomb, in the final game, you're going to get 2 new maps, and that's kind of it. I do know for a fact that more maps are planned. I know that Treyarch plans to crank out quite a few of them rapidly after launch. I think we have Nuketown coming very quickly, and then a Warzone experience, and then Season 1 is going to bring new maps. So it seems to be kind of on that Modern Warfare 2019 trajectory. If you remember, this past year, Modern Warfare didn't release with very many maps, and the maps that it released with weren't very good. So your 6v6 choices were pretty rough, but basically about the time January arrived, things were looking much better and we were getting a lot more content. So I would expect pretty much the same. Sometime around December, January, February, the content is going to be much more robust. And the other major problem that I think that the final build of the game that I played had is I think that my PC optimization got worse. So for those of you that don't know, I put in a lot of work over the last 2 weeks to build a dual PC streaming setup. I was a single PC gamer for a very long time, or console gamer for the longest time before that. But I really got fed up with Warzone crashing, so I decided to finally go dual PC, because then I can just play on one and stream on the other, right? And it's been great. My performance has been better in Warzone in pretty much every single game that I play. So you would say that it's probably not fair to compare the before and after, because before I was playing, recording, and streaming all on one GPU, and now I've got a totally different rig for that. But even the new one, even the new dual PC rig that is no longer streaming and recording, still kind of struggled to perform consistently. It wasn't great. I averaged about 100 FPS in 6v6 at 1440p, with most of my settings either high or close to the highest. I had a few on medium, and I was playing on a 2080 Ti. I don't have a 3080 or 3090 yet, but a 2080 Ti is still an awesome card, and it's the best that a lot of gamers are going to have. And I could really only crank 100 FPS in 6v6. I will admit that I did not do the video memory scale trick yet, which is something you shouldn't have to do to begin with. But the problem isn't that, oh boo-hoo, you only get 100 FPS. The problem is that that frame rate wasn't a very stable 100. It would sometimes go up to 110 or 120, but then other times it would go down to 65 and 72, and it would sometimes hitch on occasion. It seemed to vary quite a bit by map. Most of the maps ran well about the same, but Armada was noticeably worse. Armada would sometimes chug down to about 40 FPS when I jumped into the water and right properly like micro freeze and then resume. It was pretty brutal playing on that map. As a matter of fact, I don't think I have very much gameplay to post of it because of that. So the Black Ops Cold War final build did not perform as well as I had hoped. I was really hoping that with the new dual PC rig, I could just lock it at a stable 120 or even like a stable 90 or something for regular multiplayer, but it didn't quite deliver that. What I'm really hoping for is that hopefully I can get a new 3000 series card, 3080 or 3090, and maybe a few optimization patches will fix that. Of note, and to give credit to Treyarch and the developers that are working very hard right now in these turbulent COVID-related times, I do know that there's at least one more patch or title update that's supposed to come out before the game goes live. I assume there will be an increase in optimization or efficiency there, because there is in most patches. So maybe the more efficient patch is coming in the future and I just can't play it yet. But my genuine fear is that most PC gamers are going to struggle with this one. I feel that it's going to push your PCs further than you think, and a lot of people are going to have to bite the bullet and kind of cap their game at 60 FPS to keep it very stable. At least that's what I do. If I'm having problems with it bouncing from 100 to 60 and dropping frames in between, I'll just cap it at 60 and enjoy a stable 60 FPS. Some people don't. Some people always want that high frame rate, but I'm worried. It could just be me and my unique little special computer, but I'm worried. So at the end of this video, in conclusion, I would say that Treyarch patched up every single small detail that you could imagine: animations, models, weapon variety, quality, attachments, sound, HUD, theater mode, all sorts of little features and improvements. So it got a nice big smoothing pass with a very generous brush on that one. Footsteps are better, they cut the bushes, all that. However, Treyarch left most of the bigger aspects of the game as is. There's not going to be any massive changes to the engine, there's not going to be any massive changes to the connection, not really any massive changes to the core gameplay or the map count or anything like that. Not a ton of new guns either that you haven't already seen. A lot of what you experienced in the beta is going to be what you'll experience in the final game, except I think you should definitely play the campaign. The campaign was an absolute banger. It's going to be the first COD campaign that I've finished in maybe 5 or 6 years, and it's going to be the first one that I fully uploaded to my YouTube channel too, because I thought my playthrough was super fun. Campaign was amazing, and if you want to see my opinions on zombies, you can check out that video independently of this one. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.